Like, look at that. That is insane. It's all exposed. Okay, so picking right back up where we left off, I continued wandering deeper into the dream cave and tried to convince a scaly boy to shoot a creeper for his sweet, sweet music disc, but a zombo ended up killing him with a shovel before I could make that happen. Let me tell you, a lot of mobs down here. I had a whole cast of Thriller try to start a flash mob on me. Okay, I know that was terrible. I won't do it again, I promise. After that, we made our way deeper and deeper into the cave, and to be honest, we must have ended up spending at least a day or so down there, just exploring and lighting everything up. Eventually, I did end up finding a mine shaft down there and gathered a few much-needed resources, but while I was minding my own business trying to find some iron, a zombie pinned me up against a wall and brought me down to 4 hearts. Anyways, as I went deeper into the mine, I found a zombie wearing full leather armor, and I prayed for something other than this gold armor I had on. And I swear on everything, this guy dropped every piece of armor he had on him except the boots. Minecraft was being pretty gracious to me today. I made a little area for me to gather my thoughts while I smelted some of the iron I got, but I got bored and left. I was still down in the mine trying to light up as much of it as I could because I wanted to build a mob spawner in this world, a good one. So as much of these caves needed to be as lit as I could get them. I went back and grabbed a little of the iron that I had been smelting so I could make some much needed boots because god dang my piggies were taking a beating. I seen a creeper and noped out of that real fast, and to be honest, at this point I was kinda lost. I was just wanting to get home, but everything looked exactly the same. Yes, I could have just rewatched the footage, but that's not exactly the spirit of all this. Sometime later I found a mine chest with some gosh darn dang diamonds. I yoinked all of those and just kinda started dashing for the entrance. Didn't go well. Found a whole cave spider spawner, and then not 5 minutes later I came up on this room. A cave spider spawner, and not only that, but a naturally spawned spider spawner which just popped out of nowhere. Oh. That's just a spider spawner. That's a regular spider spawner. Okay. Needless to say, I was excited. I had found a fantastic mine right outside of our house just 11 days in. And this isn't even the craziest thing down here, but we'll get to that in a bit. After getting the rest of the iron I could, I built a tunnel straight up so I could get down here a little easier next time. On the way up, I stumbled into another cave and got ambushed by a skelly boy. Once I finally made my way back up, I checked my haul and ended up getting a little over a stack of iron, a couple diamonds, and a bunch of other random odds and ends. I made a dedicated chest for the good stuff so that the weak sauce materials wouldn't get their gross on it, and finally made a full set of iron. We finally left peasant status, boys. Since I had a lot of time to waste while my iron smelted, I went out to get some food and explore our surroundings a little. I gotta say, I know that this world just started, but I'm so excited to see what it's gonna become, and I'm really excited to start working on it, and I hope you are too. With that sappy stuff out of the way, it got dark real fast, so I Tokyo drifted back home to check on my iron, and it was a little over halfway done. So I took what I could and made a full fresh set of iron tools. It felt good to finally start making a little bit of progress after barely doing anything the first few days. Now that I was a little bit more prepared and a little more confident, I went back down to the spidered spawners so I could light it up and start opening up the area a bit more. To try and save my brain some of the few cells it has, I blocked off a lot of the random pathways that led to dead ends, and honestly it didn't help. I could still barely make my way around in there. FYI, I don't get used to these caves for a long time. The house, yeah, I get used to it after a while, but all the stuff down here is a goddamn labyrinth. I spent probably the rest of day 12 fixing up the rest of the place to make it less deathy. So, there I was, minding my own business, right? Just a normal guy doing normal Minecraft things, trying to make a nice little pathway so I could get to my house easier, right? Out of nowhere, I was pelted by a poison bottle. Don't know who threw it, don't know where they went. When I turned around, the only thing there was a zombie in gold armor. After my cheeks finally unclenched, I got back to work on the spider spawner and started making the area a bit more square-shaped. But as I was making the outline, I wasn't paying attention and fell probably 10 blocks down into another part of the cave. My cheeks were having a tough day, man. I guess the silver lining in all of it was that I needed to light up this area anyway, so that's fine, I guess. Although, while I was down there, I did find a way to go deeper down in case I wanted to go strip mining for some blue coal later. Once I made my way back up, I filled in the little hole I fell into and picked up where I left off. Literally 30 more seconds into me making the outline and broke into another part of the mine shaft and got bebopped by a potion bottle again. I don't know who this man is, but he had it out for me. I couldn't even hide and heal in peace. I had this guy just standing there watching me when I tried to come out. I wasn't having it. I was tired of being pushed around by these guys, so I plopped down a furnace and started smelting some iron, While it was cooking, I took a peek at them and they were calling up reinforcements. I got ready. I made my sword, said a couple of words of encouragement, and they were gone. I knew it was a trap. I could feel it in my bones. And just like that, one of them came at me swinging at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But your boy took care of him, don't worry. I searched a total of 3 seconds for the other one and gave up, so I got right back to hollowing everything out and ended up spending the rest of day 13 and almost all of day 14 clearing all of it out. But my inventory was getting so full that I had to go back and put some stuff away. Back at the house, Tiny had been making some improvements to the cave, like adding little signs to show where everything was going to be and finally making our entrance look like an actual entrance. I just want to say that all of the credit for this place looking so good in the future all goes to Tiny. I'm not a builder, never have been, but Tiny's got some skills. Now that I had some more supplies, I went back down to the spawners just to try it. I knew it still had a ways to go, but I just wanted to see how it was going to work, and it did, I guess. Minus having no ceiling, but I think this place is going to work out really well. I felt like I had made a decent bit of progress for that day's stream, so I went back up to the house, made a super sick bed, which I know you're jealous of by the way, and took a quick peek at Tiny's upcoming projects and then called it a day. The next day I hopped back on stream, and for some reason I decided to go back into the confusing mine shaft to find my old stash. Here's the thing about my old stash. There was only like a crafting table, a furnace, and maybe 8 pieces of iron. I honestly don't know why I wanted to go back and get it, but that's what I did. So yeah, I hope this was fun for you. I finally found my life-saving 9 pieces of iron and just started wandering around in the deeper parts of the cave. I really don't know what I was doing at this point, lighting it all up, maybe, I honestly don't know. I did find a deep slate crevice that went pretty far down, but it didn't prove to have anything other than a couple pools of lava, which I guess is good to have, but nothing too exciting right now. After that, I stumbled on a tiny dripstone cave, which was cool, yeah, but it was the tiny hole I seen. I thought it was going to lead to another half of the cave, but no, I honestly couldn't have predicted what was about to happen. Is that another mine shaft? It wasn't just a mine shaft. Little did I know then, but this would end up being one of the coolest things I've ever seen generate in vanilla Minecraft. Got myself 2 more blue iron before I walked into one of the most mind-boggling cave generations I've ever seen. It was a giant deep slate cave that went down to nearly bedrock level with an entire exposed mine shaft cutting right through the center. I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen anything like this. I felt like I had one of those god seeds or something. And get this, I found not 1, not 2, but 4 more spider spawners down here. I don't even know what I was going to do with them at this point. I'm not good enough at Minecraft to make this into something efficient. I do end up keeping them there, but I don't know. If you can think of something I can do with this, let me know down in the comments. I really wanted to check out what was down at the bottom, so I minor league gamer water bucketed down to the lower level and was greeted by many a bad boys, which, you know, I ended up taking care of and ended up finding my first diamonds that weren't inside a box. A little spider friend was guarding 5 of the blue boys down here. Looking around some more, I found a zombie spawner at the base of the pit, so I tried to place as many torches as I could to limit the spawns, but I think I'll just have to come back another time with more resources and maybe some backup. With my inventory literally bursting at the seams with good loot, I made my way back up the waterfall and back through the mine shaft, which took me forever by the way. And by the time I finally made it back to the house, it was already day 18. We were really starting to fly through these days now. After spending about an hour down in that cave and opening probably 12 chests, I managed to come back with 9 diamonds, 5 name tags, 4 golden apples, a book with fire aspect and power 1, a book with luck of the sea, cat, and a ton of minecart rails. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. And while I was gone, Tiny was hard at work making the kitchen area look nice, and it got me feeling like I should do something semi-productive, so I started making a little farm for a more stable source of nutrition. I got super lucky and found 2 cows right outside, but of course I forgot to grab some wheat, so I had to run back down and grab some, but by the time I made my way back up, one of them had already despawned. We did get one though, and I wasn't going to let anything happen to it. I protected that cowboy well into the night. Happened to catch one of the top 10 anime battles of all time between a zombie and a skelly boy, but it was looking a little one-sided, so I gave the zombie a fighting chance, and our guy ended up pulling through. Hunger pains did eventually start to set in, so instead of dealing with it, I decided to go to sleep and let future me handle it. The next morning, I stumbled out of bed, wheat in hand, so I could hopefully find some animals to salvage for parts. I hadn't been at full health since I got attacked by a skeleton nearly 30 minutes ago. I did manage to find a sheep right outside of the house, but I was getting really hungry at this point and I couldn't even sprint. It started getting annoying, so I popped back home to grab some more wheat and just make some bread for the time being. 2 more sheep did end up spawning like 30 blocks away from the house, so I brought those fluff boys back, and that was all I could find, unfortunately. With the food situation somewhat solved, I decided to give up on the animal farm for now and head down to the spider farm to try and finish it up. It really wasn't pretty at all, but it was going to work, hopefully. I slapped the roof on, placed the last few slabs for the gaps, and it was good to go for the first trial run. I really didn't want the cave spider spawning first, so I got rid of all of the torches except the ones around that spawner, and after giving myself a pep talk, I took out the rest of the torches and made a mad dash to my safe zone. It was going well at first, but I must have missed a spot or something because a cave spider just plopped his way down into my hole and didn't even buy me dinner first. Thankfully, I killed it without getting poisoned and patched up the hole. Feeling kind of discouraged after that, I lit the area back up and gave up on it until I figured out a way to make it work better. I still wanted to do something productive, so I tried to go back to that zombie spawner I found the other day and do something with that since those are much easier to use. You may be wondering why I said I tried to go back to the zombie spawner. Well, you see, your boy forgot to screenshot the coordinates and was too lazy to just look back on the footage, so I spent a solid 10 minutes running back and forth through that cave trying to find my way back there. I did have a rough idea of where it was, so I just started mining straight down, which was a terrible idea, and somehow, by the grace of Mojang, managed to tunnel my way there without being burnt to a crisp by lava. But since I've spent 5 years getting down there, I was already out of the bread that I brought with me, and the rotten flesh I had just wasn't going to cut it. God knows I didn't want to try to find my way back, so I started tunneling straight up, and I'm actually glad I did, because I found a diamond. I mean, it was the only one, but hey, I'll take it. My tunneling method ended up being a huge failure. I only went up like 20 blocks before I broke into another part of the cave, and boy oh boy were there a lot of mobs. Whole heap and heck ton. I tried to fight off as many as I could, but by the end of it I had 2 hearts, no food, half hunger, and I was lost in a huge cave with a diamond pick. Yeah, it wasn't much, but if I lost everything down here, I was going to have a really hard time finding my way back before everything despawned. I went back up my waterfall to try to get to a somewhat familiar area so that if I did die, I might be able to find it easier. You know what might give me a little bit more luck though is someone in chat pointed out that I was very close to a super hilarious and lucky number of followers. So if you wanted to save me from this type of thing happening again, you should, go give me a little follow on Twitch, cause, funny number. So with 2 hearts, 3 hunger, and the will to survive, I started frantically running through the mine trying to find anything that looked vaguely familiar. And I somehow, through sheer luck, found my original path that brought me down here the first time, but I couldn't find the mine shaft in my spider spawner. With a half of a hunger bar left, I finally seen a bit of the mine shaft jutting out of the wall and made a break for it. Just jumping up to get to it took the last bit of hunger I had and I started dying. I didn't know where I was or how to get back, so I ran to an intersection and just braced for death.
360 by 1100.
I spawned back in and immediately ran down into the cave with zero precaution. I wasn't going to lose that stuff no matter what. I worked hard for that singular diamond and I wasn't going to let anything take that from me. I know I'm usually super good at finding my way around these mine shafts, but I for some reason could not find my stuff anywhere. It was gone. I went right back to the coordinates where I died and still, nothing. I almost gave up until I was running through an intersection and gained a bunch of levels out of nowhere. You might think I found it shortly after that, but I still had to run around for another 5 anxiety-filled minutes until I finally found my stuff, but I did find it. After getting through that whole ordeal, I went back up to the house and I just wanted to relax at this point. I did some basic chores around the house, got some wheat, made some more sustenance, planted wheat, waited, made some more sustenance. But while I was doing that, Tiny was trying to make the house look a little more cozy, so I decided to lend a helping hand and clear out some of the tunnels to give it some feng shui. Why did I write feng shui? I don't even know what that has to be spelled wrong. Whatever. Not a lot happened on day 20. I went outside, played God for a bit, expanded the farm a tad so my subjects wouldn't walk around stepping on their children. And after that, I went to the spider spawner for some reason, I guess to see if anything had spawned, but if it was all lit up, nothing would have spawned anyway. I really don't know why I went down there, but yeah, that pretty much wrapped up the rest of day 20, and shortly after that, I ended up ending my stream for the day. Look at that, we made it to day 20 already. If you ended up getting this far, let me just say, thank you for sticking through till the end. You honestly deserve a medal for getting through that. If you enjoyed the video, that's awesome and you're an awesome person, and if not, that's cool too, I'll still love you. And I'll put the seed and coordinates for the cave down in the description, but anyways, with that said, thanks again for watching and I'll catch you on the flippity.